Hello, everybody. Welcome to the channel. My name is Lindsay, and this is Life with Lindsay. Today we have a WIP Chat, but if you're new here, hi, welcome. My name is Lindsay. I do mainly diamond painting and some other crafting-related content, and I would love if you would like, subscribe, hit the bell, hop aboard the Hot Mess Express. Let's love you, friends. If you've been here before, hi, welcome. Thanks for coming back. Excuse me. If you do not know what a WIP Chat is, a WIP Chat is when I work on my current WIP, WIP, which is work in progress. I pulled out Shamrock Elf. I just recently unboxed this. If you'd like to see the unboxing for this, I will leave that up in the eye. I just laid down a couple drills before I recorded because I was editing another video. So you can work on whatever it is that you want to work on. It can be another craft project. It can be a household project. It can be while you're driving. It can be while you're working, while you're pretending to work, while you're avoiding work, while you're doing laundry, meal prepping, scrubbing toilets, whatever it is you want to be doing. A lot of people use them the same way they would a podcast, which let me know your favorite podcast down below. I'm still obsessed with Pod Meets World. You guys are going back on tour and they're not coming East Coast. I'm kicking myself for missing them when they came to Philly. But anyway, let me know down below. And, yeah. So let's just get into this. Let's get into this right away. Oh, I feel like I have to sneeze already. That's fun. I don't know what I'm doing. Okay. Get your shit together, Lindsay. I hope that you guys are all well. I am physically and emotionally and just everything drained right now. Yeah. How are you guys doing? I feel like this has just been a very rough week, days. I don't know. I feel like just everything is just sitting on my shoulders, and I'm feeling stressed out, and you know, yeah. Anyway, I don't want to just like be like, hey guys, life sucks. I'm gonna just ramble and be like, ho hum, because that's not what it is. But I just like the last couple days I've been feeling really not great physically. Like I've been dealing with like being like nauseous and dizzy, and you know, I don't know what's going on with me. And I think a lot of it honestly has to do with stress. And this is the first time that I've diamond painted in a while. If you guys are wondering why I'm working on this and not the one that I was working on last week, since there was no post review, I have not actually completed that kit yet. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, I've been working on Space Explorer, and that was my big 100th kit. I was really excited. I bought all these special drills for it. Well, I think I mentioned, I don't know if I mentioned, I might just be making this up, but I had gone, oh no, I guess not. I'll tell you guys about that here. Long story short, I thought I had enough special drills for what I wanted to do. I did not. So I had to then make the decision, do I need to make another order and wait a couple weeks? It took about a little over 2 weeks for the last order for it to be packed, shipped, and then come into my house, which isn't like a crazy long time or anything, but when like you're literally just waiting on like 50 more drills, it's a lot. Thankfully, I had a friend who had a very similar color in their stash that they were willing to send me, so I'm just waiting for that to come, because I actually reached out to DPO Sparklers and asked them, like, listen, could I just pay extra? Like, I'll pay for expedited shipping, whatever. I don't want to wait a really long time, and I don't want to have to buy more bags of special drills. I am one of those people. I know there are a lot of people who, when they get special drills, they just buy, like, colors they like and things that they think they could utilize one day. I'm not like that. Like, I buy for projects. So I don't have anything. Like, I'm working on this now, which I don't plan on doctoring. And if I do, it's not going to be because I bought a bag of drills. And I don't know what my next project will be after this, but I really don't see myself being like, oh, I really need this color and this color and this color. So, super long story short, that project, unfortunately, is on hold until I can get those replacements. Yeah. I will say I was a little bit frustrated about that. No fault to anybody, but you know, when you have it in your mind that, like, and I was so close, you guys. When I ran out, I could have actually finished that day, but now I have to rip some drills off. This is probably not what you guys want to hear, but this, I'm going to have to rip off a bunch of drills and replace them with a similar color, or I'm going to have to spend the money and buy 3 times as many drills as I need. Like, I literally just need a handful of drills to finish what I'm doing. But that's, again, my own fault, I guess. I mean, it is my fault. I shouldn't be like, I guess, because anyway. This is really starting off on the wrong foot here. I hope that you guys are well. You guys can probably hear it in me. I'm just not... My head's not in a good place. I'm not really where I should be. I'm just struggling. And I know I've said it before. It's always okay to not be okay, but like I'm really having a hard time right now. And I'm really questioning a lot of things and sorry. I promise that my whole WIP Chat isn't going to be like me sitting here being sad or sounding like I'm feeling sorry for myself. I'm having a really hard time in my life, and I'm having a hard time pulling myself out of it. And I don't have the luxury of just sitting around and just trying to make myself feel better right now. So I'm here because I want to be here, and I'm here because I want to diamond paint and finally get stuff worked on. I feel like I haven't gotten anything accomplished in so long, which is true. I really haven't, because I haven't been diamond painting. Yeah, I kind of just was trying to figure out what was going on before I made my next move. But I've got, like I said, I have this video. This is a 2-part unboxing. The other part will go up. I have, I ordered the Lynn mystery kit from Dreamer Designs, which is supposed to be delivered today or tomorrow. So I will record that and put that up again. I'll put a spoiler on that in case, a spoiler alert, trigger warning, not trigger warning, but a warning in case you are somebody who, you know, you don't want to have it ruined. I will also ask, I haven't seen it, so like I can't be like, oh, if I can't tell what it is right away from the image, like the black and white, I just ask that other people don't ruin it for me. Cal, of Chris and Cal, the two of us were discussing potentially working on it together, but I was like, I have no chill, and I think I'm going to start working on it right away. So I know I asked in, I think, my last video, how many Hannah Lynns in a row are too many Hannah Lynns, and I'm not sure that the limit really exists, which all I can think of right now is Lindsay Lohan and Mean Girls. The limit does not exist. Which, side note, did anybody else see the trailer for Freakier Friday? Because I did, and I am really excited. I'm probably too excited for it. I loved Freaky Friday. Listen, say what you will, Lindsay Lohan, she had, you know, some real rough times, but she put out some banger movies, you guys, and I'm here for it. And I'm here for her return and all of that fun stuff. So I am here for it. But anyway, if you haven't seen the trailer for it, go watch the trailer. Anyway, I don't even know what I was saying now. But yeah, I think I'm gonna do that. So, but I actually had to mute somebody on Instagram. It was probably like a year or two ago, maybe more. They just kept posting whatever mystery kit it was, but like, no. If you guys followed me when I did the Ivy Dollamore one, and you guys know, well, if you watch a lot of my videos and you follow me on Instagram, you probably know I post my daily progress reports of whatever I'm working on to my stories. And then I usually put a start photo and end photo. The whole point of that, you guys, was that I was going to put my, like, daily progress, and then at every, like, week mark, I would put, like, an actual photo progress on my feed instead of just my story. But, like, that doesn't happen. I pretty much only do a start and end photo. Some of that is because I just totally forgot that, like, oh yeah, I was going to do that. And then other times because I just don't care enough. But so anyway, this person was posting, I don't even remember which mystery kit it was. And when I posted my Ivy Dolomore, you know, maybe you don't, but when you purchase a mystery kit from like Diamond Art Club or Dreamer Designs, or I'm sure a bunch of other companies, the image that they show on their website is just a question mark. So I usually just take the actual image and then I post that as a, like, here's your warning. If you don't want to see it, scroll past. Which also, just a heads up, if you are somebody who you see those posts in your feed and you don't want to be ruined by it, you don't want to have it spoiled for you, like the post. Because if you don't like it and it's somebody you regularly interact with, it will come back into your feed and it'll scroll to the second image in the carousel. Just a heads up. So anyway, this person was just constantly posting, like, their progress photos, like, their daily photos of a mystery kit without being like, spoiler alert, or, you know, warning, or whatever. And I didn't want it to be completely ruined, so as soon as I realized that what was happening, I just muted them. I don't think I even follow them anymore, to be completely honest with you, but that was a really long story for me just being like, hey, let's, you know, let's be cool about it. I also asked in the Hannah Lynn Facebook group, I was like, are you going to allow progress photos of the mystery kit? Because, like, I know in, like, the Dreamer Designs page, the Dreamer Designs Facebook page, and the Diamond Art Club Facebook page, like, you're not allowed to post progress reports, or WIP pics of your, that sounded really wrong, of your, mystery, for the simple fact that not everybody wants to see it. If you want to do that, go to one of the mystery pages. So anyway, I don't even know what the point of this was. Just rambling per usual. It's funny. My husband was going through his schedule, and I don't know if I've mentioned this before, but my husband he like does not want to have his own calendar. So oftentimes he'll say to me, is there a reason I asked off on these dates? Or do you know why I asked off for these dates? Like, most of the time, I have no idea, dude. Why you asked off for them, I don't know. But the other day, he's like, do you know I asked off for these dates in May? And I was like, yes. And he's just looking at me. I go, you know, the crafting retreat that I'm hosting with Erica. And he's like, oh, shit. So, you guys. So that's, like, coming up real quick. My kiddo's got a competition next month. That's coming up real quick. Everything is coming up real quick. I just put that right on the glue. Right on the glue. So, when I was talking to Kel, because I think she was asking if you guys have ever heard me say I'm a free-range diamond painter, that's because I don't section anything off. I just kind of, like, lift the canvas and go. I think she was asking me specifically, and if you're watching this, Kel, you can let me know if this is why. Because then if it was, oh, we do section off, we can both work on the same exact sections and compare, instead of, like, one of us just flying along and the other one not. But for me, if you guys, I don't even know if I'm in camera frame. Am I? Yeah. I know that most people don't actually watch the actual WIP chats. They just listen to the WIP chats. But if you took notice, I have this half uncovered. Well, I'm working on this color right here, and I can see that some of it's under the release paper. So I'm just finishing the line so that I can put the sheet back down and not work like halfway through that line. Does that make sense? Is anybody else like that? I don't know. I feel like a lot of people are not. I feel like a lot of people are very, like, strict and regimented with, like, the sections that they work on, which I am not. My brain does not work that way. The only time that I ever kind of sort of worked like that, and this is a big kind of sort of, was when I was working on one of the kits with the perforated paper from Diamond Art Club. But even then, I wasn't just peeling up one square. I was peeling up usually like 2 or 3 squares at a time. And if it overlapped, I would peel just to finish that color. So I guess it just made it easier than me having to put the paper down itself, I guess. I don't know. I have a really bad headache. I need to like put my favorite water bottle in through the dishwasher. I think that's part of the problem is I'm just not drinking enough water. And I definitely just realized that I said it like people here say it. Because I was more conscious of it. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, I'm from like the Philadelphia area. And I truly do say water. But when I'm like thinking about it, I'll say water. Which sounds so weird saying that. But it's 100% water ice. Like I don't care. I had this conversation before, and then I realized a lot of people have no idea what water ice is. And I was like, oh, okay. So if you have never heard of water ice, let me know down below. I'm very curious. Anyway, I hope that you guys are well. Let's talk about our week, shall we? Do you guys have any fun plans for the week? Did you have any fun plans over the weekend? We had fun and eventful plans over the weekend. And, I don't know that we have anything. We have parent-teacher conferences coming up this week, which I didn't realize when we scheduled it until after we scheduled it that it was... My husband and I, like, rushed to get a morning spot so that we could do it, like, drop our kiddo off at school and then do our parent-teacher conference. Except for they don't have school on the days of the parent-teacher conferences this time. So our kid will be with us, and we have morning ice that day, so we will be up hella early. I'm not super thrilled about my poor planning skills there, but that's all right. Yeah. I'm like kicking myself for that. So let's talk about the week. On Sunday, we took our kiddo to get like brunch. We try to, if we can, like on Sunday mornings, like if my husband's off, we try to go to, like, we like going to the Mexican restaurant. They have really good breakfast. Briar really loves their tres leches French toast. She always asks for it with extra strawberries and whipped cream, which always makes me giggle. And then we, there's a couple other places that we like to go for breakfast. Or McDonald's. Like, we've done McDonald's breakfast quite a few times. The only problem is every time my husband goes to do McDonald's breakfast, and it has probably been a couple months now since we've had McDonald's breakfast, but in general, every time he goes, he gets stuck waiting forever. I don't know if we just always get stuck at the same time as, like, the church crowd or what, but it's gotten to the point now where, like, it'll literally take, like, an hour and a half on certain times. Place the order, sit in the line, bring the food home. Maybe not an hour and a half, maybe, like, an hour. But, like, I don't... $1.99 egg and cheese, whatever, isn't really worth that much time and effort for me. But anyway, so we ended up going and getting some, like, brunch. It was like a late breakfast, but she had said, I really want to do something fun today. And it's not often that my husband has off completely on a day that Briar has no school or no activities or no anything. So I was like, what do you want to do? And there was a lot of chatter back and forth, and she couldn't really, come up with anything. I forget what she wanted to do, and I was like, girl, let's be realistic. So I was like, you know what? Let's go down to King of Prussia. King of Prussia is an area in the suburbs of Philadelphia. It has one of the country's largest malls, tons of food, tons of shopping. It's not super far from where I grew up or where my family currently resides. But I found this indoor amusement attraction thing. So I was like, why don't we do this? Why don't we go down? We'll go spend a little time there. She can play on the stuff. And then we can call my parents and see if they want to meet us for dinner. And then we'll head back home. Sounds good. So let me just preface this by saying it was a terrible idea. Okay, it was an awful, awful day. Um, Everybody's tensions were super high. I was frustrated because my child was being super ungrateful and super whiny and super everything negative that you could be. She was complaining about everything. And I was like, thanks, kid. Like, we're literally driving, an hour and a half away. It's 100 miles away from home. And I was just like really annoyed. And then when we got there, she just froze. And so, we had a whole conversation because I've told her on many occasions that the only way you grow in life is to do things scared. If everything was easy, if everything was super comfortable, you'd never have any growth from it. And I truly believe this for everybody, not just for like little kids. And she just, for some reason, had a huge mental block and just didn't want to participate, which is not like her at all. And I think we have something similar, I think, kind of near us. And she has a friend who I know has been to the one near us because she's got older siblings. And I think if Briar is tall enough to do a lot of the stuff at the other one, I might just ask that parent, like, if her kid would like to go with Briar, because I think she'd be more willing to do it if she was with a friend. But I was like, all right, you know what? Let's not have this negative experience dictate the tone of the rest of our day, right? Let's have a good day. So we did. We went to the mall, and then of course, despite us telling, and I know that this is like an every kid thing. This is not like oh, my kid's the only one who does this. I know every kid does this, but it's still annoying. Despite us explaining that we are going to go into stores and we are not going to be purchasing anything from said stores, or we're going to be in the mall, but we're not buying any toys today, or, anything along those lines, no matter how many times it's like, I understand, mommy. No, she might understand, but she doesn't care because she's going to be like, but mommy. And I'm like, Briar, listen, I love you. I love you very much. This is very frustrating for mommy. But we needed to waste some time because indeed we were meeting my parents for dinner. So there is a soup dumpling restaurant. And let me tell you, we have nothing like that up here. And I really enjoy like going and getting like dim sum and stuff like that. And we really don't have anything here. And my sister, when she was in town recently, I had said to my dad, is this somewhere that you might want to try? And he was down for it, but I think that the day that we decided to go somewhere else, I think everybody was just kind of hit their limit. So we called my parents on the way down and we asked them, would you guys like to meet us for dinner? And they said yes. My daughter loves dumplings. She loves trying different kinds of dumplings. She just loves dumplings. And this place was delicious. I'm really glad that we went. We had a really good time. It was nice to see my parents. I don't see my parents as often as I think anybody would like, but that's because they don't live around the corner. Like they live an hour and a half away, and it's harder for them to come to us, and I can't always go down to them because she's got school and sports and activities and all these things. And so the timing of everything just worked out really well. So she wanted to sit in between my parents, which they were thrilled by, They love getting to see her. And she was, I think you guys have probably, if you've been around for a while, you've heard me mention my kiddo wears a smartwatch. It's a smartwatch for kids. It does not have, like, she cannot go on the internet. She can only contact people through the phone, that I have pre-programmed in there. And like my parents can call her, my sister can call her, my mother-in-law can call her, but none of those people can text unless they actually download the app to text through. It's the Gizmo app. And because we were going somewhere that was, not near home, and she was going to be out, like, it very much out in public, I wanted her to have it on. There's a button on the side, it's like an SOS button, that if there's any sort of emergency situation, she can push it and it will call my phone. No matter what, like, even if it's in school mode at school, it'll automatically call me. And knowing that we were going to do some stuff, I wanted her to have it. Sometimes she doesn't want to wear it, like, when we do stuff. And other times she does. And, I'm not going to be like, make a huge deal out of it about it, but I do need her, like, when we're doing public things, to ease my mind. And also, for safety purposes, because it has a tracking device, which will come in handy here in a few minutes. So anyway, my parents and my daughter are sitting on one side of the table. My husband and I are sitting on the other side of the table. My daughter is eating, I don't know what she was eating at this point, and it's not really relevant to the story, but something was dripping down her arm. So, like any normal person, she took off her watch to clean the area on her arm. Okay, well, my mom said, oh, I've got her watch, I'll take care of it. I'm like, okay. So fast forward to the meal is over, we're saying our goodbyes, we're going to have to get in the car and drive home. It's about an hour and a half back to our house. Maybe a little longer, because we're probably going to have to stop to use the potty on the turnpike. And that's also important because it is the turnpike. It is, 20 miles between exits. It's not just a local highway. So we're leaving. We're saying our goodbyes. We get in the car. We start driving. About 10 minutes go by, and I get a call from my dad. And he's asking me about the watch. Did you get the watch from your mother? And I go, shoot, no. She never gave it to me. And he goes, oh, well, she doesn't have it. I go, what? What do you mean she doesn't have it? He said, she doesn't have the watch. And I'm like, I'm starting to get nervous now. I'm like, okay. So while I'm on the phone with my parents, I have my husband tries to call her phone, her watch, because if she has it on her somewhere, or if one of us accidentally grabbed it and didn't realize it, whatever, it would be ringing. Nothing. So I pull up the watch tracking app, and it is showing that it is at the restaurant, or in the vicinity of the restaurant. So I said, okay, well, let me call the restaurant real quick. Would you guys mind going and picking it back up? And my dad's like, not at all. So I call, and they are like, we definitely don't have this. And I'm like, what? So I call my parents back, and my parents are like, well, I don't know what to tell you. We don't have the watch. We're going to go back anyway. And I'm like, oh, okay. Okay. So I am continuously calling this watch. Nobody's answering, which is a good and bad sign, because, like, yay, nobody's answering. So I'm sure nobody, took it, but also nobody's answering, so maybe it's just kind of lost in the abyss right now. Well, fast forward to, we are well on our way on the turnpike. Did I just rip my wax out? No. And I explained to my dad, like, I'm not in a spot where I can just, like, turn around. Like, we are already on the turnpike, and we have, like, another 15 minutes till we get to the next exit kind of situation. And then we would have to pay the tolls, flip and go back. And he's like, no, I'll take care of it. So I then pull up. I forgot that I clean my pen tips. So now I have, like, clean wax to work with ABs, and I don't like that. Anyway, so I pull up the tracking, and I can see that the watch is on the move in the King of Prussia area. And then I see the watch is back at the restaurant. That's also clean wax. Damn it, Lindsay. And I'm like, okay, so I know my mom is telling us she doesn't have the watch, but unless someone else is, following around my parents, they have to have it. So, super long story short, we go back and forth. We go back and forth. We go back and forth. Nobody can find the watch. Nobody knows where the watch is. My mom then calls me, I don't know how much later. And by this point, I had said to my husband, I don't care what my mom is telling me. She 100% has this watch on her. Because then I also see it is at her apartment. It doesn't give me like exact, pinpoint, but when the bubble is this big and my parents' house is in the middle of it, So they go back to the restaurant and they end up pulling the security cameras. And this is like so intense for, like a smartwatch. And I'm glad that my parents actually put in the effort for this, because part of me was worried that like my dad didn't realize like this was an actual like smart device, not just like, a little electric watch, but it is like truly a smart device that I pay a monthly bill on, and the equipment cost, a decent amount of money. And anyway, they pull up the camera and they see the moment that my daughter took it off and put it on the table, and then the moment that my mother took it off the table and she put it on the chair next to her. And then it is not seen for the rest of the meal. Then when my mother gets up, they see something fall off the chair. What was that thing? It was the watch. You guys, the watch fell into my mother's boot. She was wearing like little, like motorcycle boot kind of style. And she then proceeded to not notice or feel that there was a watch in her boot for I don't know how long, and then never heard the watch continuously ringing inside her shoe. But I was very, very grateful that eventually it was found, and then it was sent in the mail to us. And I was saying to my mom, like, I'd love for Dad to provide us with some tracking or whatever, because like I'm nervous just shipping it in a box or whatever. So he's like, oh yeah, I sent all the tracking information to your husband. And I was like, what? Well, I don't know who he sent it to, but he sure shit didn't send it to my husband. And then I was like, well, he's like, well, I don't know how to look into old text messages. And I go, Dad, you just open up your sent messages. And he goes, even after you erase them? And I was like, I don't know. I don't erase text messages after I send them. And he goes, well, I do. How many of you, I feel like this is an old people thing. Sorry, old people, if you're listening. How many of you erase your text messages after you like send or receive one? Because me, like, if you're one of those people that hates to see how many messages somebody has, then I am not the person to be. I have over 1,000 unread messages right now. Also, total side note. I know a couple weeks ago I had told you guys that we had gone to a restaurant called Anthony's Coal-Fired Pizza. And it's exactly what it sounds like. And I just have to tell this little side story here. I made a comment to my husband, like jokingly, oh, my boyfriend Anthony keeps texting me. And I get so many text messages, like all promotional text messages from Anthony's Coal-Fired Pizza. Sometimes they're every other day, sometimes they're every day, sometimes they're like every 3-4 days. But now my daughter's like, oh, my mommy has a boyfriend named Anthony. And I'm like, no, no, no. No. I was like, also, you can't go to school and tell people that mommy has a boyfriend. She's like, why? And like, she knows it's a joke, but she doesn't understand that like not everybody else is going to understand that's a joke. And they're going to be like, wow, she's just out here like hoeing herself up, and her kid's well aware of it. It's like, no, I don't. Anthony's not a real person. He's just the name of a restaurant. But anyway, so long story short, we got the watch back. And what started out as a really crappy, rough family outing turned into just a good time, and such good food too. Such good food. I was really excited about that. But the next day was school. My husband was off, so we had some lunch together. And by the way, I don't know who my dad sent the tracking to, like I said. But It arrived, and by then, like, the watch had died. Because at one point I tracked it, and it was at a post office, so I knew my dad had shipped it without him telling me that he shipped it. But I didn't have any tracking information, so I didn't know how long it would take. But yeah, so we got it, long story short. And I'm still astonished, like, how my mother did not feel that she had an entire watch in her shoe. Now, I know I said it's like a kid's smartwatch, but it's not little. It's like the same size as like an Apple Watch. You know what I mean? Like it's a substantial face on it. And also my daughter, like, I have to put it on the smallest hole for it to fit on her wrist. We were doing the second smallest, but I think it stretched a little bit. Now it's too big on that. She's a little peanut, you guys. I think my watch, my timer that I use is slowly dying over here, so that's fun. Because the screen is really dull. How am I on time? Okay. So, after the kiddo got out of school, are there more than one color here? Is there a T? No, okay, it's just a blurry symbol. Yay! After we picked her up from school, we took her to the eye doctor again. She had just gotten her glasses readjusted, but they were leaving like such a strong red mark on her face that I was like, we need to get them loosened. They're too tight now. So they adjusted them, and it seems to be doing much better. And this is one of the things that like my kiddo seems to struggle with, and I think this is very like age appropriate. But I have to explain to her, like, if something's bothering you, like, you have to tell us. Like, I don't know that it's hurting your face unless you tell me that it's hurting your face. I don't know that it's pinching behind your ears unless you're telling me that it's pinching behind your ears. I just assumed that it wasn't sitting comfortably on her face because she had these giant red marks around her nose. That even when she took her glasses off, they wouldn't like go away. Even like when she woke up the next morning, they would still be there. So we got her glasses readjusted, and it was such a gorgeous day. And my kid, I love her. She cracks me up. I feel like a lot of kids are like this, but she is like, it's warm, so it's springtime. And I'm like, well, okay, it's almost springtime, but it's not springtime yet. And also, just because it's warm today doesn't mean that it's going to be warm from here on out. And she's like, what? Like, she just, like, that just disturbs her. It's like, what do you mean it's not going to be warm forever from now on? It's like, girl, that's how seasons work. So, we ended up going to the playground, and, which is pretty close to the eye doctor. And she just, you know, had a good time. She was playing. And then she's like, okay, I have to go potty. And I have to go potty now. And I'm like, Briar, there's no toilet here. And she's like, well, what do you mean? And I'm like, what do you mean? What do you mean? Like, we've been to this playground since you were a baby. There's never been a toilet here. And she's like, but I have to go potty. And I'm like, then we have to leave. And then it was like, but I don't want to leave. I want to play. And I'm like, well, you can't have it both ways, friend. Like, we're not going to have an accident on the playground because you wanted to keep playing. Like, we got to go. So she was a little sad about that. And then it was like, well, can we come back? And it's like, girl, I don't know. Can we worry about making it home without having an accident? She is definitely that kid that, like, when she has to go potty, she tells you, like, when she has to. Not like, I think I should probably go to the bathroom. It's like, oh my God, I have to go potty right now. So that's fun. Thankfully we made it home and there was no accidents. Yay. But let me tell you, when we were leaving, I was a little nervous. And then she asked if we could do, and I was like, girl, we're not doing anything else till we get home and go potty. Like, get the idea of what's next out of your head, because next is your butt on the toilet, and that's it. Like, that's where we're going. And also, like, I've discovered that, like, I've mentioned this, I think, before. My child has zero concept of time, and I know that that's something that, like, that kids in general struggle with. And I know, like, when she was really little, like, sometimes I could be like, it's like the length of 2 Bluey episodes. But I've also come to realize that, like, 1 minute and an hour, it's all the same. It does not feel any different. They cannot tell. And even if she can, like, read a clock, she doesn't know what that means yet. There was a point to me saying that. And now I don't remember what it was. I lost my train of thought trying to explain something. Anybody else like that? I know I'm not the only one, but I don't remember what I was going to say now. Anyway, next day we went and she had morning ice. That's really going to bother me. The whole thing, like the whole point of me bringing up time, there's a whole reason for it. Now I don't remember. If you guys knew where I was going with that story, let me know down below. How am I on time, speaking of which? Okay. So the next day was Tuesday, so we had morning ice. And then I had a crafts and coffee date with Erica from Kevin's Creations. If you guys have been following along, I've been talking about how we've been doing the Java journey together. So there is one coffee shop that they have 2 locations, and then they have a sister store that has 2 locations. So we did the last 2 stops on our journey, and I felt a drill follow me, but I don't know where it went. And we ended up, our last stop on the Java journey was the same coffee shop as where we started our Java journey, which was totally coincidental. That's actually not how it was scheduled on the spreadsheet that Erica had made, but we actually adjusted another day for other reasons and put 2 together, and it just worked out. So I'm really excited. I hope that they do another one again, because I thoroughly enjoyed finding new coffee shops and trying all these new drinks. I really enjoyed it. And also, like, it's a super fun way to, like, spend time with a friend and hang out. But we did that and then went back to her house and crafted together. Now, when I was talking about earlier, the whole situation with the other diamond painting. So, I'm going to preface all of this by saying I probably could have just reached out to Diamond Art Club and seen if they could have provided me the exact color count for the drills that I wanted to replace. I wasn't sure if they did that or not, but I also thought if they did, since it was not a good parting between them and Hannah Lynn, that maybe that might be something just not to worry about, not to reach out about. So we decided, like any sane people, why don't we just bust out a scale? Sure, why not? I need to replace that wax now too. And we weighed the color that I was replacing, and then we weighed the bag of the drills that I replaced it with. The whole point was I wanted to replace that entire color with the special drills I bought. And my thinking was, well, if I weigh them and it weighs the same or more, I'm in the clear. I did not think about it, and this is totally my fault, that a glass drill is going to weigh more than a regular resin or acrylic drill. So despite the fact that on the scale it had a lot more weight than what was in the drill bag provided by Diamond Art Club, it had less numerically, and I ran out. And that's on me, and I'm fixing the situation, but unfortunately that is why that canvas is currently on hold. And it wouldn't be that much of a bummer if it wasn't like I made a big deal about this being my 100th kit, you know? So, again, that's on me. That's my fault. Bummer, bummer, bummer. But it was nice to hang out with Erica. It's always nice to hang out with Erica. And then, you know, I go pick up my kiddo from school. I'm going to be honest with you guys. These colors here, there's a reason I started with the red, because down here, some of these greens are a lot blurrier than, like, I don't know if you guys can see down here, and I don't really want to zoom the camera in, but I have the black drills, and then I have 2 different shades of green here that I'm probably going to have to keep turning the light on and off for, so it doesn't blow it out, which, not my favorite thing to do, but alas, here we are. So, did we do anything else on Tuesday? No. But, so that was always fun. I always enjoy getting to hang out with Erica. And we were actually supposed to get together a second time this week, but that didn't happen. Not due to either one of us. Have you ever dealt with somebody, like, professionally, who you're like, do you just not like being paid? Do you not like following through on business emails? Do you, like, it was one of those kinds of situations. Anyway, next day, kiddo had school. My husband and I was like, listen, you can have the car. I don't feel like driving anyone anywhere. And it was nice out, so we got to walk. And when I say we got to walk, we walked to school quite a bit. Very rarely do I say, let's drive to school if there's no other reason that we need to be in the car. Like, if we're coming from the rink, obviously I'm going to just drive her right to the school. Or if we took my husband to work first and then went, I'm going to just go right to the school. I was going to say, I think that's it. So then, where are we at? Thursday. So Thursday, I decided I had a couple things I needed to take care of. I had gotten my daughter a rink tote. So, if you have no idea what I'm talking about, a lot of figure skaters, they have two bags. One that is their actual skate bag in which they hold their skates and anything that they need, like that. And then they have a tote of some sort. And just like everything else in the world, there's certain ones that are trendier than others. And like, my kid's 7, so she doesn't know like what other people think are cool. She just knows what she likes. And her coach had mentioned to me recently, I think that it's a good time to invest in a tote for her. All of the big kids, when they go out on the ice, they take their rink tote out with them. Usually the rink tote has tissues and their water bottle and then a couple extra things. Well, I drove around town what felt like all day long, getting things that I thought she needed, and thought she'd like in her rink tote, because I also have no idea what's exactly supposed to go in there. I did ask in a like advice for figure skating parents Facebook group. And I did mention that the child was 7, and I thought it was really interesting the amount of people that said to put a notebook in there so that the coach could leave notes for the child. And I was like, are your 7-year-olds all out there like reading full on handwritten notes? Because mine certainly is not. Mine is, yeah, no. So I put in a couple of the things that were suggested. There's a box of tissues. I put in a box of Band-Aids. Actually, I don't know if you guys know the Welly brand. I really like them. They come in a metal tin. And because she is a little kid, I got a cool pattern. I think hers glow in the dark. They're neon. But I know she doesn't need a full first aid kit because the rink has a first aid kit. But if she needs a Band-Aid while she's out on the ice, then she doesn't have to get off the ice to go get a Band-Aid. So she has hand sanitizer. She has hair ties. She has chapstick. Couple other little things in there. And I wasn't sure exactly what I was supposed to put in there or what was needed. Like her coach, for example, takes care of all of the music stuff. So, like, my daughter doesn't have a device to play her music on. It gets played on her coach's phone through the speakers at the rink. So, I mean, I guess when they're older, they have access to their own music. They can plug their music in with the little dongle and practice during freestyle with their own music. But my daughter she doesn't have access to that, you know what I mean? So, the other thing that I found quite difficult was finding blonde snap clips. My kiddo is a blonde, and any of the clips that like her coach has put in her hair, they are all dark. My daughter's like, these are bronze. I was like, girl, those are black. I don't know who's telling you that's a bronze clip, but that is a black hair clip. And oddly enough, like, my kid is, I think, the only blonde skater that she has right now. So I'm not surprised, and, you know, I don't expect her coach to buy these things. Like, she just happens to have some sometimes. But, so yeah, I got her some elastics, I got her some snap clips, and I mean, I could find them on Amazon, but I was trying to get them together, and I was trying to get everything together so that this was Thursday night. She had morning ice on Friday, so that when she came downstairs to get her skate bag ready for the car, that she would see her new tote and be really excited. The other big thing was I put a keychain that has her initial on it, and then those fuzzy bunnies, I've talked about them before. She's gotten them at competitions. She loves them. So I took one of her bunnies from her skate bag and I put it onto her tote. So she's got this bright, like, fuchsia tote that she absolutely loves. And so now when she goes out, she carries her tote out and she has her own tissues. And, like, that's really the big thing. There's a spare pair of gloves, spare pair of hand warmers, spare pair of socks, things like that. You know, like the boring stuff. But then there's also fun things. Like, she has fun smelling hand sanitizer and chapstick. And, like, I don't let her have chapstick because normally she destroys it. It's actually disgusting. And I'm like, girl, she puts like 52 layers of chapstick on, and she like walks into a room with her lips first. I'm like, girl, how much chapstick do you have on? And she's like, not that much. Yes, you do. She'll go through an entire chapstick in like 2 days. I'm like, what are you doing? Mommy I couldn't even tell you the last time I finished an entire chapstick before I lost it or it melted or whatever. But yeah. She cracks me up, you guys. But I had another friend had reached out to me earlier in the week, and she had said to me, like, do you like coffee? And I was like, indeed I do. And she's like, would you ever want to meet up for coffee? And I was like, yes. So we actually met up after I dropped Briar off at school that day, and we had a nice little coffee date and hung out. And her daughter was performing in a local show the next day, so I got my tickets from her. And it was really lovely, and I'm really glad that we did that. Our girls have been friends for a little bit now, and that was nice, you know. I feel like I was sold this, like, when your kid gets old enough to make friends, that's when you'll make more mom friends or more parent friends or whatever. And I'm like, I don't find that to be true. Now, that might just be me, and that might just be the area that I live in, but, like, I definitely feel like I don't connect with hardly any of these parents. Most of them don't even interact. They just keep to themselves. With the exception of, like, the 2 kids my daughter has been to their home this year. Like, I've spoken to the parents, but I've never connected with them socially, you know, outside of school. And I don't know if that's something that any of these people would want to do in general or not, but, like, it's just, you know, communication on behalf of the kids at this point. So it was nice that this mom friend wanted to hang out and have time, her and I, like, without the kids. So we did that. And then the next day we went and saw the show. It was a local production of Annie, and it's funny to me. I haven't seen Annie in a very, very long time, but I've seen it, and it was a 45-minute condensed production, and these kids, they sign up for this class. It's like an acting class, and they learn the production, and they then perform the show and things like that. And my daughter really wants to sign up for one of the plays. The problem is they run the same time as her ice skating class. So it's always the conversation of, you can do this, but then you have to give up that class. And then it's always like, but I don't want to. And it's like, okay, well, we can't do both things. We cannot be physically in two places at one time. So, you know, I'm hoping that we can get for one of the summer ones, but I think the summer ones are just camp, because her skating class changes days, starting in a couple months here. But we went and we had a couple friends that were in the show, so it was really a fun time for her to watch her friends perform, her friends sing and dance, and all these other kids perform, and she just had a really great time. She really loves shows. I've taken her to a couple at the Fulton Theater in Lancaster, which is, an off-Broadway local. It's nice. It's very nice, and she really enjoys it there. I know she would love to go and see, like, Wicked for sure, which my husband and I have actually been talking about. But, we'll see. But it was really nice to just have that. The day was, like, a really good day. She had a lot of fun watching the show. And then I said, why don't we go get some lunch together, you and mommy, anywhere you want to go. We'll get something special if you want to. So there is a Greek restaurant in Hershey called Simply Greek. They recently reopened in a new location, and we have been, prior to that, we had never actually eaten in. We'd always done like takeout or delivery. So it's really nice that we can go and enjoy it. And it's even more nice that she really likes it. Because, you never know how kids are going to handle a different flavor palette than what they're used to. And she digs it there. So we went and they have a dip trio. You can pick any 3 dips. This kid should be like the poster child for the spicy feta dip. She ate the entire dip by herself. She had some of the other ones, but she ate all of that one, with the exception of like 2 bites. And we grabbed another appetizer and a little dessert, and we just had a really good, like, mommy me day. And it was a good way to end the week. And, I mean, obviously we did stuff on Sunday, but I will tell you guys next week about what we did. But I was just really glad to spend some good quality, like, one-on-one time with her. Parenting is always hard. And I saw a post. I'm in a old moms group. It's for parents over 35. The whole point is that you were supposed to become a parent over 35, but a lot of these people are people who had their last kid after 35, but many of them are people who never had their first child till they were 35 or 40 or in their 40s or whatever. And this one woman, and it kind of frustrated me. I understand, but it also frustrated me. She had made a point that she really wished that all these people who were married would stop complaining about how hard parenthood is, because they were a single parent and they really, like, were upset by people trying to complain about how hard it is. Here's the thing. I'm not a single parent. I have a very hands-on husband who loves fatherhood and loves our child and is really excellent with her. That being said, I will never not complain about the things that I complain about, whether it's, to you guys, to friends, to my husband, whatever, because there is a huge difference between having a support system and not having a support system. And for me, I know people who they are single parents who have an incredible support system. They have somebody to watch their kid when they are at work. They have somebody to watch their kid if they want to go do social activities. They have super hands-on grandparents and aunts and uncles, and their kids have tons of time with their cousins and things like that. And I don't have that. So while I do have a husband who is a great support in that sense, my husband and I also don't get that time to ourselves, because if one of us is taking a little bit of a break from her, the other one is with her. So it was very frustrating to hear this woman being like, you guys don't understand what it's like unless you're truly a single parent. I also know there are plenty of married people out there who feel like, despite having a partner or a spouse, that they are doing it all on their own. And some of them are doing it completely on their own. They just happen to be married. So I just want to remind you, whoever you are, if you are on this journey called life, it's okay if things are hard. It doesn't matter what your circumstances are. It doesn't mean that it's harder for one person over another because they have more or they have less. You never know what somebody is going through. You never know what struggles they have on their own. Like, I will say, I am definitely at that age, like that perimenopausal age, that I am noticing huge differences in my day-to-day life that have nothing to do with like my health or anything like that. But my sensory issues have been amplified by like a million. Like, we were out to eat and I just kind of shut down and I said to my husband, I am having a really hard time right now. There are too many noises. The table behind me is talking, the TV's going, the music's playing, my daughter's talking, her watch is going off. All of these sounds are happening. I can't block any of them out. There's 8 million smells because we were at a buffet and people are walking by with their regular orders on top of it. The lights were like burning my eyes. The outside was hazy. I was just having a real shit time. And I could not separate myself from that. And I'm just like, these are things I don't think that they like tell you that, hey, when you hit a certain age, like, these are also things you have to deal with. Or like, nobody ever told me the fact that my ears would just itch 24/7 for years. But the sensory overload is so much more than it has ever been. And it is just like life is just trying to like punch me in the face, and I'm just trying to stay upright. And I think that's probably where I'm going to end. I did go over the hour mark here. But just remember, if you're feeling like, well, it shouldn't be this hard for me because my circumstances are better than somebody else's, or whatever it may be, like, it's totally okay. Whatever it may be. It doesn't have to be parenting. And also, when people say, like, you signed up for this, no. I'm going to just dispel that myth right there, because, yes, I signed up for a parent. Did I know that, like, parenthood would involve at least 3/4 of the things that I deal with? Absolutely not. But I'm going to get out of here. If you guys made it all the way to the end, the day that I'm filming this is St. Patrick's Day, so leave me something St. Patty's Day related. I'll leave it up to you to figure out what that is for you. But I'm going to get out of here. If you guys like this video and you'd like to see more videos like this or nothing like this at all, please make sure to give this video 2 thumbs up. 1 real life, 1 virtual. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button. Come join the Sparkle Squad. And while you're there, hit that notification bell. I do not operate on any sort of schedule. I operate on toddler standard time, and I record when my tiny human is sleeping, or at school. Thank you guys so much for being here. I'll see you in my next one. Bye, guys!